Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Live with Shelley. It's the first Q&A Live with Shelley of day one, and it's the first live Q&A of the entire challenge. So welcome to you guys. I'm so excited to be here with you. It's been an incredible day already, and so great to see so many of you diving into the daily task of today and starting to identify your ideal clients. So congratulations to all of you. If you're just joining me and you haven't yet dived into the daily task, then don't worry, there's plenty of time, but stay here for the live Q&A before you go ahead and do it. So welcome to all of you who are just joining. I would love you to say hi, let me know that you're here. I know that everyone is probably just getting my email and getting notified, so we're going to give it a moment for people to join. But whilst I do that, say hi, let me know you're here. And of course, please give StreamYard permission to see your name. So that's just this link down here, streamyard.com/Facebook, because I am streaming live from StreamYard into my Facebook group and actually today also onto my YouTube channel as well. Obviously, we want you to join us in the Facebook group, though that's primarily the best place because that way we can really engage with you best. So anyway, I'm streaming live into the Facebook group, and that's why, for me to see your name, I need you to give StreamYard permission. So it's just streamyard.com/Facebook. And it would be helpful if I just turn my phone on to silent as well. So I'm just going to do that. But it's great to see that my text has just gone out. So obviously you're probably just getting notified that we are live. Yes, we're live. So excited to be here with you guys. It's been quite an incredible run up to this challenge. Very exciting to see that we have 2,000 participants on the challenge again, which is fantastic. And great to see so many of you engaging in the group as well. So what I'm going to do is I just want to just check that everything's all good. Yes, it is. We're all fine. And let's just see who we have here on the live. So welcome to everyone. We have Making in the house. Welcome, Making. Good to see you here. Fantastic. My lovely Heidi, who no doubt a lot of you are meeting. Heidi is my program coordinator for my LinkedIn Quarterly Leads Formula program. She is also my right-hand lady, and pretty much she's handling lots of the behind the scenes for this entire challenge. So very grateful to have the amazing Heidi with me in the team, and you guys are getting to see her too. Marianne, welcome. Good to see you here. Lovely to have you here, Marianne. Welcome to you. So it's Peter Ann. Welcome to you. Good to see you here. Hello to you from Mexico. Again, if you can just give StreamYard permission to see your name, the link you need is streamyard.com/Facebook. That would be great. There's some more of you. I can't see your names, but welcome to you as well. Again, the same thing applies. If you could just give StreamYard permission to see your name, it's just streamyard.com/Facebook. John, welcome to you. Good to see you here. Welcome. Afshin, hello. Welcome to you. Hi to you as well. Again, just give StreamYard permission to see your name. That'd be amazing. streamyard.com/Facebook. Amazing. Welcome. Hi, Mark. Good to see you here. My wonderful Sonia. Some of you will have met Sonia. She's my LinkedIn coach on my LinkedIn Made Easy, on my LinkedIn Quarterly Leads Formula program. Sonia is going to be coming on and joining us soon on the live Q&A as well. So you're going to get to hear from her as well. So good to have you here, Sonia. I'm sure some of you will have had Sonia responding to you in the Facebook group already. Susan, hello. Good to see you here. Welcome. Rachel, good morning. Good to see you here too. Fantastic. Wendy, hello to you as well. Good to have you here. Brilliant. Stephanie, good to see you as well. Welcome to you from Berlin. Ria, hello, welcome. Fantastic. Louise, good to see you. Catherine, welcome. Amazing. And there's some others of you, I can't see your names. So again, just give StreamYard permission for me to see your names. Just streamyard.com/Facebook, because then I can see your name and that way I can really connect with you, because I'm streaming live from StreamYard into the Facebook group. So I hope you've been having a great time on today's daily challenge. Obviously, I want to talk to you a little bit about, about what we're going to be doing on these lives and what's happening. So what we're going to be doing is every day, Monday to Friday of this week, you will have 2 live Q&As. So there'll be one now at 6 o'clock UK time, which if you're in PT time zone is 11 a.m. If you're on ET time zone, it is let me check, 2 p.m. If you're on CET, it is 7 o'clock. So we have one live now at 6 o'clock, and then I'll be going live again at 9 o'clock UK time. So that would be on PT time zone, that would be 2 p.m. ET time zone, that would be 5 p.m. And then on CET, it's 10 p.m. Okay, so these lives are so important because this is where I'm going to answer all your questions about the daily task of the day. And of course, I'm going to be bringing on some special guests to talk to you about how they've used LinkedIn in order to grow their businesses successfully. And you're going to love those special guests. You're going to get so much out of hearing their stories. So we're going to be doing that. We've got a very packed session today on this Q&A because we are also going to announce the winner of our most engaged participant of day 1. So you need to stay on until the end of this Q&A to see if you are the winner, if you're in a chance with being our winner of day 1. So I've got a very special prize for you for the winner of day 1 as well. So you want to definitely get hold of that business boosting prize. So just a couple more things that I want to say to you about the challenge is that over the next 5 days, as you complete the daily tasks, you're going to get to grips with knowing how to actually use LinkedIn in order to generate leads and clients for your business. So where you are now, what we've done today is just the first step in the sequence of steps that I'm going to take you through. And by the end of the week on Friday, you are going to be in a completely different place from where you are now. Even if you're just totally new to LinkedIn, you've not really used it much at all, or maybe you haven't even had an account, by Friday, you're going to be hopped into LinkedIn. You're going to know how to start reaching out to your ideal clients on LinkedIn, and you'll know how to post on LinkedIn, and you'll feel more confident about actually being visible on LinkedIn. So you're going to be in a completely different place from where you are right now. If you're already familiar with LinkedIn and you've been using it some time, you're going to get a lot out of this experience over the next 5 days because we're going to take what you know and help you go further. And of course, you can ask any questions that you need help with on these live Q&As. So it's not just restricted to what we're doing. I mean, mainly we'll focus on what the daily task is of that day. But if you've already been using LinkedIn and there's elements of your strategy that aren't working for you, you can always ask those questions and we are going to help you, and I'm going to answer your questions as well. So super excited to get stuck in with you guys, and welcome to all of you who's just joined us. Good to see you guys here. Welcome Sonal, good to see you here. Welcome Samantha. Fantastic. Oh, that's brilliant. I love it. Day 1's task has helped already. That's perfect. Brilliant. Amazing. Oh, fantastic. Amazing. Let's just check. I'm just seeing a few questions. Okay, so you've had some problems getting into the group when I'm not live. Well, if you're able to view me live in the group, that means you should be in the group already. But I'll just ask Fem if you can reach out to this person and let's try and give them a bit of support, because if there's something else maybe going on that's causing the problem there. Fantastic. Wadia, good to see you here. Lizzie, hi. Susie, welcome to you. Natalie, welcome to you. My lovely Maria is here. She's one of my team. Maria is fantastic at many different things, but she's also one of my team. She's fantastic at supporting my audience to be able to know how to move forwards with their business via our calls that we do. So we do some live calls every so often. You may have an opportunity to have a free call with Maria, and it's an opportunity for you to get some support with how to be able to move forwards with your business using LinkedIn, but also importantly, get clarity on whether you want to work with us to help you with that as well. So anyway, good to see Maria here. Crystal, welcome to you. Fantastic. Yes, absolutely. Super excited to have you here. Okay, right. So we have lots that we're going to do over this live Q&A, and the most important thing is answering your questions. But before we dive into that, I want to bring on a special guest to talk to you about his journey using LinkedIn to grow his business. Now, he has had a phenomenal journey with his business, and I was very fortunate to start working with him a few years ago now. I'm not going to spoil everything for you, but I'm going to bring him on to tell you about his story and what's happened. So let me I'll bring Connor on right now. Hello, Connor. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Nice to see you again.
It's fantastic to see you as well. And yeah, all good my side.
Good.
So, Connor, tell everyone a little bit about you and what you do.
People kind of see my title and think like, what the heck is a franchise consultant, right? And so really, I think in its simplest terms, I help aspiring entrepreneurs go and find great businesses in the franchise space. Kind of help them match them to those businesses and then give them a really well-defined process and coach them through that process so they can vet those opportunities, really with the simple end goal of just helping them make an informed business investment decision, right? So that whether their end goals are, getting out of corporate or just building additional income streams, that kind of varies, but that's really the simple end goal, right? We call it our informed decision process. I'm not the most creative when it comes to naming things, but that's really what it's about.
Yeah, fantastic. So really what you're doing is you're helping people to make that decision about whether franchise ownership is right for them or not, and then select the right franchise option for them, which is phenomenal. Let's wind back the clock a few years to when I first met you. Tell everyone a little bit about what you were struggling with that made you decide to get some help.
Sure. So I think I probably had the normal emotional roller coaster of starting your own business, right? And I think that looks something like euphoria into reality, into dread and fear, and then you kind of fight through that and you figure out your business, right? So for background, I had spent a couple of decades, first couple of decades of my career on Wall Street, had a young family. Big part of my transition story was that I kind of wanted to see my kids grow up and wanted to be present for them, and just sort of burnt out on doing 80 to 100-hour weeks on Wall Street. At the same time, I had pretty significant income replacement needs, so I couldn't really sit around and take the first 2 or 3 years to start making money. So I was in a bit of a pressure cooker of my own creation, so to speak, right? And after that initial euphoria wore off of, great, I got my own business, this is so exciting, it kind of, I sort of looked around and thought, okay, great, now what do I do, right? How do I find people? Who are my ideal client? All these things that seem very basic and 101 to me now, looking back, without your help, I don't know if I certainly wouldn't have realized them as quickly as I did. Yeah. And so that's how you and I connected. I was sort of futzing around on LinkedIn, for lack of a better way of saying it, because it wasn't a tool that I used in my old career. So I really didn't understand how to leverage it appropriately to help build my own business. You reached out to me, I'm assuming using a lot of the same techniques that you teach everybody through these courses that you so generously offer. And it resonated, and we got on a phone, and I think you and I sort of clicked almost immediately as friends. We've been great friends ever since. We've worked together. For everybody listening, I don't know how many times. I don't know how much I've paid you for your talents. I don't care, because it's paid itself back probably 20 times over, conservatively speaking, and I mean that literally. So yeah, it was a pretty great start to our friendship, and I'm happy to tell everybody listening what exactly that looked like, but I'll zip it and see which way you want to take the conversation.
Yeah, so when we met, you just literally were starting out in business, just been doing your business for a couple of months, but kind of floundering a bit as to how to actually grow it. You weren't generating those leads, the clients, in order to actually make revenue for the business. And if you don't have any revenue, you don't have any income. So I totally get that challenge, and it's a challenge that all new business owners go through. So it was a really important moment to be able to solve that challenge. So if we talk a little bit about what was the process that you went through, as you applied my formula, What was the process you went through that allowed you to actually solve the problem of just not having any clients, not having any leads or clients?
Yeah, well, I think what I remember the most, and this is kind of going back a while, and we've worked on much more kind of complex projects since then. But what I always remember from the beginning is, I'm sure as all of us who are on LinkedIn, you get solicited by all sorts of white noise all the time. And frankly, it's 90% of it's just an annoyance, right? Is the honest truth of it. And so I was always very careful about like my marketing dollars, especially early on when I wasn't really making any money, right? And so my inclination or my hesitation is often, I don't want to go spend $1,500 or $2,000 on someone that speaks a totally different language from me, right? Not literally speaking, but just like, I don't know marketing, right? I'm terrible at marketing. You know this about me. I'm very strong in sales. I'm good on the relationship side of the businesses. Marketing is like speaking ancient Aramaic to me. Like I have no idea about it. So you worry that when you go through those one-on-one type of coachings with people that they're just talking up here and you're existing down here. And at the end of it, you go, okay, I have no idea what I was supposed to take out of that. You were excellent at not only holding my hand through all of it, but also really just articulating it in plain English and saying, look, this is what we're going to do, right? This is what you tell me, like what you're looking for. I'll help you find that ideal client avatar. And then literally you were writing things like it was sort of my voice, but you'd say, no, those were the wrong words to use. And you'd take notes and you'd send them to me right at the end. And so that I could literally take everything we worked on, copy and paste it into, right? We rebuilt my entire LinkedIn profile at first. We designed the outreach program. You helped me sort of with all of that verbiage. And it just made it so simple that I couldn't screw it up. And that was really valuable to me. I mean, I think when you're investing your money into someone that's supposed to be helping you with a part of your business that you don't understand, I mean, you can't ask for a more ideal outcome than that, which is, here it is, go do this, and you won't mess it up.
Yeah, I love that, because there is a formula to being able to generate leads and clients. And there's a formula to doing that through any platform. With LinkedIn, there's a formula that works for that. And absolutely, sometimes, of course, it's really important to get your tone of voice, but we're also thinking about your ideal clients. So it's like finding those right words for the direct messaging that's going to connect with your ideal clients. And what was great also, Connor, was that you came in knowing a little bit about your ideal clients, because actually they were where you were on Wall Street. They were in financial services and, hating the sort of corporate bureaucracy. And so we started actually targeting people who were pretty much in the same sector as you'd been in. And that can be quite a helpful place to start for a lot of people, especially where you're targeting individual professionals. Oftentimes it is someone who's actually similar to yourself that you're targeting. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think, I was probably guilty of this, and you would know better than I would, but I think people make the mistake of like trying to be all things to all people when it comes to marketing, because they just want people coming into their pipeline. And that's a mistake. It really is. Like, being laser focused on who it is that you want in your pipeline, who you think you can really help, and just continuing to be very selective with the people that you work with. That's really hard to do at the start of your business, because sometimes just being busy helps you keep your sanity. But I find that you end up wasting tons of time on people that are just kicking tires or misunderstanding your offering or whatever the case may be. And that was another thing that we worked on. It was like, hey, be patient, right? It's going to take time. You have to be patient. But when you bring the right people into your pipeline, number one, you're going to work much more efficiently. You're going to enjoy the work that you're doing because the people you're working with actually want your help, right? As opposed to you kind of dragging them through the mud, which is no fun at all. And I think, you said something before that I was thinking about before our interview, which is, I really want people to understand that when they're thinking about investing with you, it really isn't just LinkedIn. Like the skills that we've worked on together to help market my business is applicable in many ways, right? You can directly attribute it to LinkedIn, and I think you can monetize that quite quickly if you do it right. But you'll be able to use it across a much more broad span of platforms, or even just in general conversations with people, because the language that you helped me build into my verbiage has just become such second nature to me. And it's so much stronger now than it was prior to.
Yeah. So I love that. So really this piece, I like to describe it when we're identifying our ideal clients, and we're identifying that niche that we're going to target, and and choosing to sort of narrow down and focus in on a specific niche. This piece is about allowing yourself to become known as that expert in your field to a specific group. It's much easier then to get more referrals as well, because they say, oh, Connor is the best person to go to if you want help with finding the right franchise for you, and you're coming from a financial services background. You're much more likely to get those referrals. So yeah, and being visible online, it's different from just going into a networking event and being able to talk to people about what you do. When you're online, you have to have a clear audience and a clear niche, because otherwise, who do you reach out to? And so that's great that you've mentioned that, and how helpful it was to actually narrow down and focus in on an ideal client.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think I've learned this over time, that it has this interesting peripheral benefit of building your own confidence, because when you're working with people that want your help, you feel good about it. It makes you feel right. I think we all probably battle with some level of imposter syndrome at the start of your business. And so that confidence really helps you. And I think, when you're in a kind of a sales position, which we all are when you're in your own business in one level or another, this might sound weird, but the more that you can come at it from a position of, you need my help, customer, more than necessarily I need you, meaning I'm not desperate to have you in my pipeline, meaning you're not getting commission breath and making people think that you're just trying to sell them on something. Your business is just going to spiral upwards from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great. So obviously the other element to this is, once you have a clearly defined niche and audience, that then really helps you with reaching out to them on LinkedIn and what you put in the messages to them. So I'd love you to just say a little bit about that process of connecting with your ideal clients, and what happened for you as you started that process of direct messaging them, connecting with them and direct messaging them.
Sure. Yeah. And again, you essentially helped me with all the verbiage. We kept it pretty straightforward and simple, right? So that the first message was, something that we had in common, right? A commonality. We were from the same industry, let's connect. And then the second one was just very straightforward, right? It would kind of touch upon a couple of pain points that, if it resonated with that person, probably got their attention, and said, this is how I help you solve that pain point. Yeah. And that's it. I never sent 4 and 5 and 6 messages. People that do that to me, I just block and delete. I find it so annoying. No offense to anybody that handles it that way, but it was just like, hey, this is what I do, and this is how I can help. If you want to chat, let's chat. Yeah. And within a couple of weeks of us doing that, people started responding, and it was amazing. I think I got my first ever deal done within about 3 months of starting my business, which was probably within about 6 weeks of starting working with you. And there were times, especially before LinkedIn kind of made it a little bit stricter as far as how many people you can reach out to, when that was a bigger number, there were times where I was like turning down my outreach because I couldn't handle the number of leads that were coming in, which was a pretty good problem to have.
So I love that. So actually, within the first 3 months of starting your business, you actually closed a deal with your ideal clients. So you had someone placed, and purchased a franchise opportunity, which is phenomenal, because this isn't a small purchase. This is like equivalent to buying a house. Yeah. It's not a small purchase. So this is a phenomenal result. Yeah. And like you said, you had so many leads coming in through LinkedIn, so many appointments being booked with you, that you actually had to slow it down, which is a fantastic problem to have. Yeah. And I know, for anyone wondering, I know, I can say this because you won't be offended, but sure. you didn't even really post much at all for like the first year. It was just connecting with people and direct messaging them, and that brought all the leads in that first year. So I know, Connor, you do a lot more content marketing now, and your good wife is helping you with that. Increasing the visibility on your social media presence on LinkedIn. And I know that's shifting, and you're getting a lot of inbound leads now, getting people contacting you and reaching out to you. Do you want to say a little bit about that process as well, that shift?
Yeah, I mean, I think it becomes important at a certain point that you need to become, what's the verbiage you use? Like, like the go-to person in your,
the go-to expert.
The go-to expert in your industry. And really the only way that you can do that is through becoming a thought leader and through, content production. I think that's sort of the next level up after the direct outreach. I'm terrible at it and I hate doing it, as you know. But my wife is really good at it, so thank goodness she helps me with it. I probably get more incoming through that now. I don't actually do as much direct messaging anymore. And that again is a pretty cool place to be, because when it's unsolicited and people are coming into you, you're kind of automatically, I don't want to say leverage. I don't mean leverage in a bad way, but you have a bit of leverage.
You have
where
the trust.
you can say, look,
Yeah.
you came to me, right?
Yeah.
So this is how it works in working with me, as
Yes.
opposed to I'm chasing you. So
Yeah.
you get to kind of dictate whether you play by my rules or not, right? Because my process is very, very strict on how it works. And there's a reason for all that. I won't bore everybody as to why. But again, that's a really important point when you can get to the place in your business where you can say, hey, this is how it works. And do you want to go through that with me? And I'm happy to help you if you do. And if you don't, that's fine.
And I love this because you're at that place where you have so many leads coming in, so many qualified leads. These are people, right? There's so many potential clients coming in that you are basically, you're known now. And effectively you can say, if you want to work with me, this is how you work with me. And
Right.
you can set the terms. Obviously, when you're starting out, no one knew you. And initially you have to build that audience. You need to grow the connections on LinkedIn to build the audience. And so the focus was very much on there and the direct messaging, because, you haven't really got a presence established. But for everyone listening, over a period of years, which kind of has been going on LinkedIn now, what happens is you'll see it shift, and you can be doing the content marketing and generating the inbound leads from those connections that you've built. So, that's what we're looking for, is like, it might take 6 months, a 6-month process. Basically, you start out with a lot of the connection requests and DMing. Ideally, you keep the connection requests going and you keep connecting with your ideal clients. But over time, your content marketing will take over and be bringing people to you rather than you DMing and reaching out to them. So that's what we want to see. And it's kind of a 6 month to a year process, really, that we're really looking at that transition happening. Yeah. So fantastic. I love it. I'd love you to share a little bit more about what has happened over the last 3 and a bit years for you, because I know that if anyone's heard Connor speak before, it's like every time I interview you, there's another incremental step forwards with your business. So yeah, please tell everyone a little bit about that story. What's been happening over the last 3.25 years since you started the business.
Yeah, hopefully it continues to trend this way. Although I don't know if you'll have me back on if it doesn't, but we'll keep trying.
I will definitely.
I really can't. I mean, I think that if there's anything to take from this story, is not so much the numbers as much as what it looked like getting there, right? And to be patient with yourselves as you build these businesses, because as I mentioned, I had pretty significant income replacement needs. That one deal that I mentioned was the only deal that I did in my first 6 months of business, right? And each deal I do, I get paid pretty handsomely for. So I don't need to do 100 deals in a year, but I probably want to be at about 15 to 20. So one isn't going to cut it, wasn't going to feed my kids. And it was a very, very stressful time for me, right? And I always talk about how thankful I am for my wife for being as supportive as she was. And there were literally times, I'm an open book. There were times in that first year where I was curled up in the fetal position thinking I was going to lose everything. I was going to lose my house, lose my wife. Your brain just goes to the worst possible places. And you just have to kind of fight through those challenges. I went from, 30,000 or so in my first 6 months of business, doubled that in the next 6 months, doubled that again in the next 6 months. And then you and I came back together and I said, look, I want to replace my last year's income on Wall Street this year, right? And we came within about $5,000 of doing that right at the end of the year. I got the last deal done that took me to about $300,000. So we came back together and I said, all right, let's double that. Let's see if I can make $600,000. Now I'm talking about earnings. Like, these are net numbers. So revenue is kind of irrelevant to me. We more than did that.
Let's just jump in there. So year one, you made, I think ended up being around $260,000 in your first year in business. And the first 6 months, you actually got one deal done. So a lot of it came in the second 6 months. And part of that is also because you have a period of time, there's a process, a few months before you actually get paid if a deal goes through. So you're working for free effectively for a period of a couple of months. and seeing whether the deal goes through. So it kind of, a lot of that came in the last 6 months. So great, you kept the faith and kept going. So first year, this is phenomenal. Everyone's going to love this. 260,000. Second, you came back to me and said, right, let's double this next year.
Let's double the goal. We blew that out of the water in the second year. I was at just over 600 in earnings, net income. My second year, so we came back again. I said, let's go for $1 million. So in the past 6 months alone, I've made $750,000 in my business. So I'll be well over $1 million this year.
Amazing. So you actually may even be into 1.5, 2 million by the end of the year.
That'll be next year's goal if I hit it. Yeah, we'll see.
It's incredible. Connor, this is absolutely incredible. This is phenomenal. So in basically 3.25 years, you've gone from 0 to, to this year, end of this year will be at least 1.5 million. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we know that in your industry, we know the first 6 months are usually the slower. From charting back what's happened every year, we know that you're setting a lot up for the second half of the year. That often happens. So like if you're already at $750,000, we're pretty comfortably able to say that by the end of the year you'll be definitely across the million and well into the multiple 7 figures. So congratulations.
I mean it. So thank you.
Well, I would love, because this is what's so amazing about you. Every time I interview you, something has transitioned. And I know, yes, we use the revenue to describe the sort of leap and bound, but there's a lot that goes on behind making that happen. I remember like the work we did when you came back year 2 and said, hey, I want to take the success I had in year 1 and double it. What we did was we looked at your selling strategy, and we looked at how we could make that ratio of number of people you work with to number of deals you closed. We actually sort of just looked at trying to halve that, because then with the same leads coming in, just by making you close more deals, like double the number of deals, it meant that you could double your revenue. And it's like keeping on perfecting what you do as a business owner, so that you actually make more with what you've got coming in. Whether that's leads coming in, or you just, get better at selling, right? And I love that you now say I'm really good at selling, because it's not what you used to say a few years ago. So it's great to see that now. I'm really good at selling. Because you're amazing. You're actually a natural, because everyone loves you, Connor. That's the thing. You're so genuine and so passionate about what you do, and people can see that. So that's the art of selling, is really being you, and it's lovely to see that come through. And there were some things that we specifically did in looking at your process, particularly working with the fears that your people you're working with have as they go through your process on the journey to deciding to become franchise owners, and help it, how you could help them manage their fears, how you could help them through that anxiety, so that if it's a fit for them, they could say yes at the end of the process and actually make those changes to their life that they're really wanting. So I've waffled on a bit, but I'd love you to say a little bit about how you've managed to make these kind of leaps with the business.
It's interesting. I was thinking about this before, and really there's only one KPI that I watch for my business as far as how I judge myself. And it's not monetary related at all. It's all in my closing ratio. And this is something we talked about a long time ago. I think after that first year, my closing ratio was just about 1 in 9, if my memory is correct. Now, understand, I'm in a business that I don't know how many, I know there's a big international audience on this, but if you're a baseball fan at all, if you're batting 300 in baseball, you're an incredible hitter. It's kind of that way in my business, right? If you lose 7 out of 10, you're still killing it. So we cut that in half. My second year was a little over 4 to 1, and now I'm better than 3 to 1. Yes. And the reason that means a lot to me is, number one, I don't want to work 100 hours a week. If I wanted to work 100 hours a week, I would have stayed on Wall Street, right? So it allows you to work more efficiently, which is great. It ties back to what I talked about earlier in working with people that really want your help. Work with the willing is, I think, a great saying. And as you get more confident, you get a lot better at doing that because you're not afraid of telling somebody no if you just know it's going to be a waste of your time, or if they're just using you for information that's never going to go anywhere. But what that really shows me is that closing ratio is important to me because it proves to me that I'm good at finding the right people, which is the first goal. My process is really honed in and powerful, right? And really all my process is about is just helping them get the tools and information that they need to make the right decision for them and their loved ones, right? So I don't give people answers, and it frustrates people all the time when I work with them because they'll ask me questions and I'll just say, even if I knew the answer, then I'm not going to tell you. Because as soon as I tell you, I'm just trying to sell you something, and that's not what my role is here, right? I'm just your guide. So it's gonna be a lot more powerful when you hear that from people that are in it and living it. So it's gotten, it's sort of validated my process. And then, yeah, it's certainly the fear part is a really important component of what I do, because I've not once had a person go through this and think about buying into a business that didn't have some element of anxiety or fear, and being able to help manage them through that is really important. And that, again, all those pieces, as you line them up and get better at them, help to improve your closing ratio. So actually over the past 3 years, I think I may have done, I may have worked with, a span of about 5 people difference, right? It's like the difference between 55 and 60 people in a year. And I've been able to double my business.
Amazing. I love it.
By getting better at, sort of your craft, so to speak.
Yeah, fantastic. I love that. And that's so key. And I love the fact that, you didn't become an entrepreneur in order to work the same hours as you did on Wall Street. Yeah. So what's the best bit about having your business? Like outside of, having grown the business, achieving all those goals, which is phenomenal. But what has it really meant for your life to be an entrepreneur now and have a business rather than being on Wall Street?
Yeah. I mean, look, money is just a means to whatever, like getting stuff, right? It really is it's of relatively little importance in the grand scheme of things. And the answer to this question, but I still love the question. It's just, being here, being home, seeing my kids grow up, doing really simple things like having breakfast with them, being able to work from my summer house for months at a time if I want, because I can work remotely from wherever I want. And really just putting myself in a position with the help of you and others to design the life that I always wanted for myself. And I think people are too quick to dismiss those dreams and say it's an impossibility, when frankly, like, I'm no better or smarter than anybody on this chat. And in fact, I'd be willing to bet I'm well below average, but you just take chances and don't give up on yourself and fight through challenges. And suddenly you come up for air and go, I'm really glad I didn't give up on myself.
Amazing. So final question for you, Connor. What would the cost have been to you if you hadn't said yes to yourself and got the help you needed?
It's such a difficult question for me to answer, no matter how many times you ask it of me, because it's really hard to quantify, I think, right? The monetary stuff aside, if you told me I'd be making well more money now in 3 or 4 years than I ever did on Wall Street, I would have laughed at you. I would have said, no way. But it really, again, it's not about the monetary outcomes for me. It's about kind of having agency over my own life is probably the biggest thing, right? Where, outside of my wife, I don't have to answer to anybody. Nobody tells me when I have to work or what I have to do. I set my own goals, I set my own time, and I live the life that I want to live. And that is truly priceless. And it's really such a blessing to be able to say that.
I love that. I love that so much. And, I can completely 100% relate as well. Having been an entrepreneur since I was about 28 years old, it has completely changed my life and allowed me to have time with people that are really important to me as well. So yeah, 100% with you on that, Connor. And that is the most important element. Time is something that we can't buy,
Right.
So absolutely amazing. Well, thank you so much for being so generous and talking to us again. How can people get in touch with you if they would like to follow you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, follow me on LinkedIn. I'm currently in the final stages of finally finishing my website. So I've done all this on my website, just so everybody
knows. My God, I love it. Finally, I was going to check in on that and see have we actually got the website.
That's I think it's trinityadvisory3.com, because someone had already taken Trinity Advisory, but that's the name of my company. Yeah, you guys can always reach out to me on LinkedIn if I can be a resource for anybody, or help in any way. I've always got time for anybody. So, and really, I would just encourage you guys. I'm sure a lot of you are watching this and listening to Shelley and working with her, and kind of counting your shekels and wondering if you should invest and kind of take this chance. I would encourage you to. I really would. I'll put my money where my mouth is, and I've done it over and over. I don't know how many times we've worked together, but there is no doubt that whatever you invest into Shelley, you'll get back tenfold. So for whatever that's worth, bet on yourselves and hang in there and fight through the challenges. You'll get there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Connor, for being here. I know there's going to be a lot of people sharing some really inspiring comments in the chat about having heard you speak. But yeah, thank you for being here, and congratulations. I am so excited on the incremental next leap that you've already made with your business this year. It's phenomenal. We're only 3 months in, so wow. Yeah, and I'm happy that you've got a huge tax bill coming up, because this is the benefit of having made that revenue. You'll just have to get some really good tax advisors, but we can help you with that too. We have a lot of clients who are tax advisors, so if you need anyone, we can recommend them to you too. Awesome.
Well, it's always a pleasure catching up with you, and I really couldn't have done it without you, and we will continue to work together, so thank you.
Absolutely. All right, bye for now, Connor. Thank you so much.
Bye now.
Well, I love every time I interview Connor, and if you guys have been on this challenge before, you might have seen Connor previously. But I love the fact that every time I interview him, we just get another part of the journey and what's happened next for him. So it's been amazing to watch his journey over the last 3.25 years. And isn't that exciting? He is in multiple 7 figures now, which is phenomenal. I would love to hear what you found most inspiring about hearing Connor speak. So if you can just pop into the comments and just say a little bit about what you found most inspiring. What are you taking away? You obviously heard me discussing a bit of the strategy, which might be kind of a little bit sort of unfamiliar to you at this point, because we're on day 1. But I promise you, by day 5, you will have got clear on what that formula is. You'll have understood the different elements. But was there something in the strategy that Connor shared that you picked up on, and that you're taking that away, that little nugget, that little golden nugget? So let's have a look and see. Wow. Okay. So we've got, thank you, Connor. Great progress, and thank you for sharing. Yeah, my lovely Maria is saying Connor is a great person to connect with. He absolutely is. Afshim is saying thank you. Heidi's just shared his website link for you guys. Peter Ann is saying thank you for sharing. Yeah, Ria's saying thank you. Yeah, great advice. Fight through the challenges. Mark is saying thanks for sharing your story. Yeah, lots of people really appreciated his story. Yeah, Mark is saying Connor is so humble. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, Paolo is saying the growth he's gone through is what really stood out to you. Maria is saying, I needed to hear about fear and consistency. It is so key. Honestly, Maria, the best way to be successful is always a combination of having the formula, but also having the confidence. You need these self-belief and the formula. The two things together is what makes the leads come through. If you have the formula, but you don't have the self-belief, it's really hard to actually start generating the leads and clients. It can happen, but as soon as they get onto an appointment, you just don't know what to do with them, right? So it's really important to work on both elements. And that's something that I teach in my programs, is always bringing out that self-confidence, that, that self-belief alongside the formula as well. So yeah, brilliant. Stuart is saying the concept of laser focus and working with people who want to work with you. Love that. Susie is saying investing in myself is great advice. Absolutely. Yeah, Ria is saying I'm inspired by his passion and recognizes his weaknesses, and also when he said work with the willing. Oh my God, yes, you want to work with people who are willing and ready to work with you. That's so important. They're ready to do the work, and action takers is really important. Yeah, Wadi is saying, thank you, Connor. You're such a great connector. Definitely. Yeah, inspiring how fast things can change if you dare to take the steps. Absolutely. And set those big, hairy goals as well, Rachel is saying so many nuggets and interesting. None of them are new to me, but I have not been taking action. Well, look, that is gold for you, Rachel. When you get that clarity on, actually what you need to do, you're aware of those steps, but you're also aware, okay, I haven't been doing them. That's what you need to do then. You just need to prioritize actually taking those steps and start planning that into your diary. So Rachel, that's your task, is to start planning those steps into your diary. And being on this challenge is the perfect first place, because we are going to be giving you those steps and encouraging you to take them. So that's the implementation piece. So yeah, fantastic. I love this. Yeah, Lydia is saying, what a heartfelt success story. Absolutely. Yeah, so what's the formula that you're referencing? So I talk about the fact that there is a formula to generating leads and clients through any platform. And I call my formula my LinkedIn quality leads formula, because it's the formula to generating quality leads through LinkedIn. So that's when I'm talking about a formula, it's a process, and that's what you're learning over the next 5 days. And I've broken it down into a small task each day that helps you start to learn that formula so that you can generate the leads and clients through LinkedIn. Amazing. Yeah, Paolo is saying inch wide, mile deep. Love it. Yeah, Catherine saying self-belief and confidence comes in handy too in you're a job seeker, but also if you want to start your own business. Totally. Yes. Amazing. Yeah, Maria, this is a good one. Maria saying when you change fear to passion, the consistency becomes easier. Absolutely. And I always say that as well. That's a really good one, Maria. This is like a client next thing. We definitely want to take our clients and help them shift out of the fears. And we do that through getting them in touch with their passion and their purpose. So actually, when you are stuck in fear, we'll always get you to kind of come back to why is it you're doing what you're doing? What is that about? What is the difference you want to make? What's the impact you want to make, both externally in the world to your audience, but also to your own life, and kind of reconnecting with that purpose and passion. Thank you. Yeah, proof is in the pudding. When you work with Shelley, your life can change incrementally. Love that. Amazing. John is saying, impressed to understand a realistic time parameter to begin seeing results, not a light switch. Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. This is the important thing. It's not going to happen overnight. You have to take those steps consistently and keep believing in yourself, rather than just look for the results too quickly, right? I see this with a lot of clients. What happens is they're focused on the results, not taking the actions they need to take. And when you're focused on the results, you easily jump if you don't see the results quickly enough. So sometimes you might send out 50 connection requests and you think, oh, I've sent a lot, but actually that's a really small number, right? 50 connection requests is really, really tiny. In marketing terms, that's tiny. But if you're focused on the results, then you'll just go, oh, you'll stop. You won't carry on taking the action consistently that will bring you the leads and clients. So actually what we need to do is be sending 100 connection requests a week on a consistent basis, no matter what the results are that are coming in, because then over time we'll start to see the results happening. Okay, but if you stop taking the actions, then you're not going to see those results. So that's really, really great. So well done, John, for mentioning that. I'm just going to let Connor know that if you need to head away, Connor, you can do. Thanks so much for listening in and being here. Yeah, appreciate you so much for that. Okay, so what we want to do now is to dive into your questions, because I know we've had quite a few questions today, and we've spent a little bit longer than sometimes we do on this section where I'm bringing my guests on, but it was just such a good, inspiring story that it was really worth sharing it with you and taking a bit of time. So I hope that's okay with you guys, and stay on this call, because not only are we answering your questions, we are also going to be announcing the winner of the most engaged participant of day one. So you need to stay on for that. That is coming up before we end this call. Okay, so let's come into the answering your questions section. So what I'm going to do is actually bring on my coach, Sonia. We're going to answer your questions together. I'm going to get a little update from Sonia as well about how today has gone with you guys in the Facebook group. And yeah, let me introduce her to you. Hi, Sonia. You're currently muted. If you just want to unmute yourself, that would be great.
There you go. Now it's better. Okay.
Perfect. So we've got our head on the same way today. I love that. We're matching. It's
That's
very good I didn't wear
intentional.
pink, otherwise we would have been completely matching.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not intentional. I think we are just matching.
It's what happens. You start working with client next year and everyone morphs into having the same haircut. Anyway, let's tell everyone a little bit about you and your background before we dive into answering people's questions.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. So, for those of you who didn't read my intro in the group, so I'm Sonia. I work with Shelley for how many years, Shelley? More
2
than two?
years now. Yeah.
More than two already, I think. So I really enjoy it. Apart from that, I have more than 15 years of experience in marketing with a special focus in LinkedIn marketing, but a lot of experience in content strategy, content creation, B2B, lead generation, and all of the areas basically related to getting your leads and actually closing the sales from end to end, from how to attract them, how to create like thought leadership and so on, to the lead gen process. My special focus is B2B and tech, which is great because Shelley and I are having different areas of expertise, and we kind of match across different industries, different regions, and so on. And I have been working a lot internationally with in regions such as not just Europe, but also Africa, Latin America, US, Canada, and Australia. So
amazing. Yeah, it's fantastic because that way we also cover all the different markets around the globe as well. So, it makes it helpful because we're an international company, we have international students, and we're always trying to make sure that we can give you the best advice no matter where in the world you're based and where your audience are. So, Sonia, let's dive into some questions, shall we? Let's,
absolutely.
Okay, so Mark has asked a question. He's saying, I'm primarily an e-commerce cycling accessories business and have two types of customer, B2C and B2B. So types of client descriptions. For this challenge, I'm concentrating on the B2B clients and leads. Is this okay? I think the answer is just a simple yes, of course.
It's absolutely okay. Yes, definitely. In my view, but I'm a bit biased, it's even the better choice because I'm in B2B, but definitely, Mark, feel free to focus on B2B first.
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously for anyone who's B2C, I'd say to you that LinkedIn is amazing as a platform to get B2C clients. But if you're B2B and B2C, and in the area that Mark's in, which is e-commerce cycling business, we need him to get the bigger revenue quickly, right? And so for him, if he focuses on the B2B side, and I saw his post in the Facebook group about his ideal clients on the B2B side, his ideal clients are, sort of business owners within the cycling sector, within the bicycle sector. If he focuses in on them, he's going to get a much bigger revenue return per client. And that's going to really help the business. So absolutely, it makes total sense to focus in on the B2B clients with your offering. First of all, and you could do B2C later, but definitely B2B through LinkedIn makes absolute sense given the context of what his products are. So yeah.
Agree.
Yeah, love it. Okay, so Afshin is asking, I'm an executive coach and my ideal client isn't necessarily the final decision maker when it comes to investing in coaching as part of her leadership development plan. Okay, she will probably need approval from a senior. She should, however, not pay for my service from her pocket as it's probably too much for her salary level. How should I approach a client like that? Okay, so this is a B2C. So now we have someone who is actually B2C. And really what Asheen is saying is that you're looking, I think what I'm reading between the lines is that you're looking for the execs to coach. And so you can target those executives directly through LinkedIn and still have the company pay for them to have the executive coaching with you. It's a really good strategy for any leadership coach, executive coach, to go direct to the individual that would be having the coaching with you, and then have them speak to their boss or the relevant person within their company to get it paid for by the company. Obviously, the level of seniority is important to them being able to get your coaching paid for by the company. So we typically find that more, senior leaders will be more likely to have the company pay for them than someone who's more junior. So that's something you need to bear in mind when you're doing your targeting on LinkedIn, is to make sure you're targeting someone with the right seniority level, whether it's just a senior exec rather than the executive. That's important in the title. Okay. But absolutely, it's a strategy. I've worked with a lot of leadership and executive coaches. So going direct to the individual is perfect for that. You can, of course, also go to the HRD and see if they have executives who are struggling or not making, maybe having some kind of challenges. That means they're not performing the way that they need them to. And you could get the clients that way around as well. Or perhaps if they're having a restructuring, or they're going through some change management, or they're going through redundancies, these are other reasons why they might bring an executive coach in. So you've got some good opportunities there, but absolutely you can do the B2C strategy, which you've kind of hit on. Anything you want to add to that, Sonia?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Shelley. And I think that when you are in executive coaching, you kind of need to convince the executive that he or she really needs your program, right? That you are serving some need and problem they have and so on. So if they have this internal conviction that you're the right person for them, they can advocate later on, like to get this budget that they need for you. So that's why I think it's a really good idea to go to the executive first as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, fantastic. So Mark is saying thanks for answering his question. So brilliant. Glad that was helpful. Asheen, if you found that helpful, please do let us know. It'd be good to get that feedback from you. Perfect. Yes, I love that. Yes, great advice. Perfect. Okay, so let's have a little look. We also have Claire Melvin. She's this is a good one for both of us, Sonia. So Claire is saying, I'm a newly certified life coach. I've actually taken a decision not to niche right now, though I do see myself focusing on supporting clients who have chosen to estrange from their parents, as well as people wanting support around decluttering, organization, life laundry, etc. With that in mind, I don't have a single ideal client, as it were, so I'm a bit stuck. I still work full-time, and I'm looking to transition over the next year to being full-time self-employed. I've not really used LinkedIn before and don't want to cynically feel that those who are higher earners are therefore more likely to consider life coaching. Okay. And she's feeling a little bit lost right now. So I've got some thoughts already, but I don't want to jump in, Sonia, if you want to say something about this. It's always, when you're starting out as a coach, isn't it the thing, Sonia, where trying to find out what your niche is one of the biggest challenges. I think we both experience that, don't we?
Yeah.
Like we see that.
We have seen it as the first major problem when people start working with us, is that they really struggle with finding the niche. And this is how we help usually. So Shelley, maybe you can start with your thoughts and I can do that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the most important thing here, and you're kind of doing the right thing, Claire, in not just jumping into a niche. I think that is good. I would say the most important thing is not to pick a niche at random, okay? Because what I see a lot of people do when they newly qualify as a coach is they just think, I've got to pick a niche, and so they just pick something, right? Because they think, oh, well, that's how I'm going to make money, or that was going to work. A bit like you said about the high earners. You don't want to just pick the high earners, right? But I'd say the same thing. Don't just pick a niche just because you feel like you need to pick one. Actually, the process that I teach in my program is actually about making the niche fit you. So the place you want to start is actually deep diving into your background and expertise. And as you're a life coach, you want to look at the challenges that you've been able to solve, right? So the biggest challenges that you've experienced in your own life, whether they're personal or they're professional, that you've been able to solve. So that's the starting point, I would say. Now, because LinkedIn is a professional platform, it can help if you focus in on areas that do relate to people's careers, because that can be very useful, because they're on LinkedIn to advance their careers. So that can be useful, but it's not the only areas, what I would say. So you can be a relationship coach and be really successful getting clients through LinkedIn. You can be a health coach and be really successful getting clients through LinkedIn. Equally so, you can be a life coach and be really successful getting clients through LinkedIn. The issue that you might find, Claire, when you're trying to niche is, as a life coach, you potentially have the issue that you could niche down too much, and it'll be too niche to pick up clients, or you might not niche down enough. So when I consider the ideas that you have, choosing people who've estranged from their parents, as that being the problem that you help to solve, whilst that really is a problem for a lot of people, if you niche down into that on LinkedIn, it's going to take you a long time to build an audience for people who have that particular problem. So it's almost like that's niching in a little bit too much. And the other one around decluttering organization, life laundry, I think you probably need to find a different way of phrasing that. So I think there's, these are two very, very different problems that you can help solve. So what I would say to you is I think the place to start is actually to do that kind of review of your background and expertise, and look back over your life and look at what those kind of big challenges have been, personally and professionally, that you've learned how to overcome. And really kind of take a little bit of time before doing that process. And we only do it in one module in my program, but actually, so you can do it quite quickly, but you want to do it methodically, is what I'm saying. When I set up my counseling practice, I niched in as a counselor, and the counselors can work with anyone, but I realized that my main journey had been overcoming anxiety. So in my whole journey through from childhood to adulthood, I'd had generalized anxiety disorder. I'd had a lot of anxiety, and I'd had to really work hard at being able to, kind of come into a calm place where I am now. Took me till I got to 30. But when I then niched as a counselor, I put out about, I work with people with anxiety, with PTSD, with any kind of anxiety related issue. That's what I went out as doing, because that still covers 50% of people who go into counseling, right? It's still huge, but it was kind of focused enough. And I said, I'm not the person, if you're like suicidal, I'm not the right person for you. I did work with some suicidal people, but it wasn't my favorite area. And I chose the areas that I was really passionate about and that really fitted with my background and expertise. So I would say to you, I think there is, and it's also about, when you're picking an area, it's also the niche that you're passionate about. So the problem you're passionate about solving, and at the same time, it needs to be big enough that you can pull an audience together on LinkedIn without it taking too long to get that audience. Okay, so what I would say about the estranged from the parents, if we just soften that down a bit, if that ends up being the challenge you want to focus in on, we would just widen it out by talking about you're a life coach that works specifically or specializes in working with people who have relationship challenges with their parents. We could do that and attract more people. That would give us a bit of a broader base, right? Because, I don't know how many people don't have any challenges with their parents. I mean, like, put my hands up, Sonia, even with the best parents. Yeah. So at some point you can hit, maybe you still had a great parent in your childhood, but like I've got a friend who, has recently started really struggling with her mom. Her mom was the best mom you could have ever asked for when we were teenagers. She was just phenomenal. But now my friend is like, we've known each other 30 years. And the last few years, she's really been struggling with her mom because her mom's getting older and she's changing and, the relationship is different. So that just, you see what I mean? That's like opening up the audience a bit more. You're still doing kind of the same things that you're great at if you have that niche, but you're just broadening it out a little bit so that actually you can get more people come through, and it's more easy to grow an audience and pull through leads and clients who are people who have a problem in that area. So hopefully, Claire, that's going to help you. Sonia, did I make sense there? I know I went on a bit.
Absolutely. I was listening to you as well, like from all of your experiences. I think that's great. One thing that you forgot to mention is that we have really lovely meditation for finding your niche, which
Yeah.
many people say that it's helping a lot. And after they actually detach a little bit, like move everything aside and just focus on what's inside them, they find more answers basically.
Yeah.
So
Definitely,
yeah.
that's a good point. And the meditation to discover your ideal client is actually in the daily task post for today. So we have other meditations as well in the program that get you looking at your strengths and inner strengths and resources and gifts, which also adds to helping you understand what your niche needs to be. But if you look at today's daily task, Claire, you'll definitely get a lot out of watching that meditation or listening to the meditation about discovering your ideal client, because that will definitely give you more sense of who it is that you feel drawn to working with, that's on that soul level, that's the right fit. So yeah, brilliant, Sonia. Thank you for mentioning that. Amazing. So hopefully, Claire, if that was helpful, please let us know. And I'm sure if others of you, have been struggling with your niche, I'd love to know if what I said was helpful to you as well, because this is often a common challenge I find, especially for coaches. Trying to discover what your niche is often the key sticking point for lots of coaches that I work with. Yeah, Mark is saying that the meditation really helped me focus on today's task. Fantastic. Thank you, Mark. Brilliant. Claire is saying that was really helpful. Awesome. I'm so pleased. So it's that, just remember, it's that thing of niching down. So you've got a narrow niche, but not niching too much, right? It's like you want to niche down, so you've got a clearly defined audience, but you don't want to niche down so much that there's no one to target. So it's like imagining that you're holding an orange. If you think of it like that, your niche is like orange sized, as opposed to being like super tight, right? Somewhere around there. It's like defined, it's clear, but it's not impossible for us to actually find people who fit that, quickly. What we're talking about is trying to grow the audience quickly. If we had many years, it would be different, but we want to grow it quickly. So we don't want it to be too tight, because that's going to take too long to grow that audience. And it will become more clear as you go through the days on the challenge what I'm talking about. So if this seems you're not kind of quite getting what I'm mentioning about why is it that it needs to be not completely tight? Well, that's because it's part of that process of how we grow the network on LinkedIn, and you're going to learn more about that over the coming days. Amazing. Okay, brilliant. So let's have a look at some more questions. Oh, thank you. Andy just sent me some happy birthday messages. Yes, it's so sweet. So it was my birthday just over a week ago, but I've had basically a week of birthday celebrations, and I just had a big party on Saturday with a lot of friends who are musicians, all playing live music in my home. So how the living room was turned into a gigging space, and it was just
Amazing.
phenomenal. It was amazing. So yeah, so I was and I wasn't very hungover because I didn't drink very much. So that's why I was still okay for yesterday's welcome section. Although it was a late night.
It's great to hear that. Great to hear.
Okay, so Andy is saying, with regards to today's task, my business will be aimed at many different people. Do I do the task for each group of clients or focus on just one at a time? So I would say, look, if you've got a lot of different ideal clients, it's going to be a bit difficult to try and do to work through every task over this week for all the different ideal clients. And also, when you're targeting people through LinkedIn, really you're only going to be targeting one audience group at a time, because you want to see that you're growing that audience successfully and that it is generating then leads and appointments with those people. You want to be able to see that process working through from beginning to end. And of course, that's the process you're learning over these 5 days. So what I would say to you is maybe pick one of the audiences to work with. So pick one of your ideal clients and then go through the challenge working on that ideal client. If you need some advice from me and my team about which ideal client to pick, please do ask that question. Tell us a bit about all the different options there are. And then, myself and Sonia can, and if you're here, please do pop that into the chat now, and we can give you some suggestion about which one we think would be the most profitable audience to attract through LinkedIn.
Yeah, and one more thing to add here, Shelley, like Andy, for your benefit, as you go, not just in this challenge, but when you start working on LinkedIn, you will find out that crafting your messaging is also a process. You need to know your challenges very well, the challenges of your target audience. You need to work on the topics, how to approach them, and so on. So doing one at a time would be much, much easier for you here and much more successful in my view.
Yeah, brilliant. Good point. I hadn't even got to the messaging piece. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's so difficult to target multiple audiences with multiple messages. So absolutely. Cool. Fab. Okay. So I'm just looking at the time. I'm very conscious that people might be drifting off in a bit. So I think we need to announce the winner of our most engaged participant of day one. Do you think so, Sonia? Should we do that? And we'll do more questions after that. So
I'm excited.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm also like, just, I might need to get Heidi's help on this. So let's just have a little look at what we have. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So, Sonia, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a question to answer whilst I work on this.
Please.
Yeah.
Which one? Yeah. Let's see. So many questions we have today.
Would you like to answer Amy's question? I think that's the next one we've got in the row about franchisor looking to recruit new franchisees.
Okay, I'm not currently okay. I can do my best, and you can also add to that one. So shall I read it? Maybe I can read.
Please do. That would be great.
So Amy is asking, hi, Shelley, I'm a franchisor looking to recruit new franchisees. The franchise business is baby and child development programs. Typically, franchises are moms who have come to classes with their own children, but not always. Okay, so they come to classes with their own children, but not always. They're often working in professions such as hospitality, primary school teachers, and so on. My ideal client would be a working parent looking to take control of their work-life balance and create a rewarding business which can support their family and also meet their desire to have successful career. Wow, it's a long question, but really good explanation, Amy. Well done. I'm not currently on LinkedIn and I haven't ever used it. Am I likely to find my ideal client on LinkedIn? Okay, I get this one. Not sure whether it's predominantly business owners and entrepreneurs rather than employees or people looking to change direction. Amy, I have a good answer for you, one short and one longer. Are you likely to find these people on LinkedIn? Yes, and absolutely yes. And if you stay until the end of the challenge, you will see the process, how exactly to do that. It's interesting that you are also in franchise business. And if you saw the interview with Connor before that, I'm sure that you got a lot of inspiration from this one. And on LinkedIn is really great platform for you to get employees, like people trying to change directions, because obviously these people would be there looking for opportunities as well. So it's a great opportunity for you to just get them, like when they're moving to this transition, when they're making this transition, and offer them your programs and your services. We had options. We had similar businesses in the past, and simply following the process and following the steps and the direct messaging and the connections would really help you in understanding better your target audience on LinkedIn. I realize that it might seem a little bit overwhelming now because you haven't been on LinkedIn before, but do not worry. Like even from tomorrow, we start with, was it the profile, creating the profile on LinkedIn, Shelley?
Yeah, so tomorrow we definitely start looking at the LinkedIn profile and the headline.
So I think that's a great one for Amy to be to participate, because it can really be your first steps on LinkedIn. So you will see how to create your own profile, how to really kind of put these messages that resonates with people and really makes your profile attractive. So yeah, that would be in a nutshell my recommendation. What do you think, Shelley?
I agree, and I think it's with this target audience that she's identified already, of saying these are working moms, people who've maybe been in hospitality or primary school teachers. These are all audiences that you can target on LinkedIn, very simply. But also you can look for groups, networking groups for working moms, right? And there's lots of them out there, and then you can start to connect with the working moms. And of course, look for those groups on LinkedIn. That's a really relevant space. But also you can see, you can network with those groups external to LinkedIn and then connect with them on LinkedIn. So you can do these different elements. There's different ways that you can start to build an audience with your ideal clients. You can go direct to them individually, one by one, connecting with them on LinkedIn, but you can also go and join different groups where these working moms are, or the professional groups, for school teachers, etc., people in hospitality, and then you can start connecting with them on LinkedIn. Okay, so that, it's perfect. I can totally see what you're wanting to do, and just keep going with the daily tasks, because you'll start to get more idea about how you can move forwards with this. So yeah, good.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So I think we should announce the winner of the most engaged participant of day one. Let's do that. Okay. Drum roll. Okay. So our most engaged participant of day one is Wadia Brown. Congratulations. Well done on being our winner, our most engaged participant of day one. I'm hoping you're still here. We did see that you were on the call just shortly ago. You have won an incredible business boosting prize. You're going to have an interview with the amazing Making Sang, who is a fantastic FOMO creator. She is going to be able to help you interview you, so that you're going to end up with a professionally edited video that we're going to get professionally edited for you, and that you can use to promote your business. So this is a really exciting prize. Congratulations. We're going to connect you up with Making right now. Ah, fantastic. Brilliant. Congratulations, Wadia. So what we want you to do is just look out for a Facebook message from Making. She will be contacting you to arrange that interview, which is going to happen now. So you guys are going to have that interview so that we can get on with making sure it gets professionally edited. So huge congratulations. Well done on being our day one winner. Congratulations.
Amazing award. Well done.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations. Yeah, I love seeing all the congratulations that we've got in the chat as well. Yeah, Rachel is saying congratulations. Sharon is saying congratulations. Ria is saying congratulations. Mark is saying congratulations. Afshin is saying congratulations. Well done to you. And I love that you're so excited. That's awesome. Well done. You're going to really, really enjoy this prize. It's going to be amazing. And it's going to be a great experience. Making is phenomenal. You're going to love doing the interview with her. Ah, brilliant. Fantastic. Okay, so just want to make sure we'll leave you in Making to connect. Making, are you all good with that? Do you need to post? If you need anything, Heidi can support you. The other thing I would just say is also, Wadia, if you just want to send us your contact details to info@clientnexus.com, to that email address, just in case there's any issue trying to get you connected with Making, in case you can't pick up Making's Facebook message, do look out for a friend request from her first and then the Facebook message. But yeah, just send your details across to info@clientnexus.com and we can make sure that we pass them on to Making. Awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah. And Joseph, for everyone who didn't win, tomorrow there are more awards, right, Shelley?
Absolutely. There's more opportunities to win tomorrow. So we're going to carry on though with the Q&A now and carry on answering your questions. So please stay with us. We've got a little bit more time. We'll keep going. Okay, so Jen is saying, do you think it's wise to zero in on one example person, gives them a name, an avatar as an ideal client if that client is working in a context you don't know much about? You can imagine what they might be struggling with or need, but haven't really got anyone on your radar currently to test the concept with. Well, see, that's what's so great about LinkedIn, isn't it? Because if you have a rough idea of who your ideal client is, but you need to test it, you need to check out the pain points, etc. Well, you can hop on LinkedIn. You can do a little search, find that ideal client, send them a message and say, hey, I need your help. Would you have 10, 15 minutes for me to have a quick chat with you to, find out a little bit more about, help me answer some questions around a service I'm putting together. So you can just send them a little market research, little kind of, hey, I need your help type message. And people love to help. And then that way you could get some, your ideal clients that you can actually start that process with and, learn more about them. And what's happened for a lot of my clients? We do this market research strategy all the time. We do it even with CEOs of companies, right? Even CEOs of large corporates. We do a market research strategy where my client will reach out to their ideal client, ask, saying, hey, I need your help. I want to validate an offer I'm putting together. Would you have 10 minutes to have a quick chat? And this actually works. And then they have the conversation. And the person they're speaking to gets so interested in what their offering is that they get their first client or their first few clients. And it works even with CEOs of large corporates. You would be surprised, but it actually works so well. So definitely the market research route. It's with B2C as well. It's a really phenomenal way, and it's one of the first ways I used to help my clients to start generating leads. Was just putting a survey together, reaching out to people who are a fit to complete the survey, and then following up with a free call to anyone who completed the survey as a gift, offering them a free call. That free call is like your strategy session. And from there, you can take on clients. So yeah, what do you think, Sonia?
Absolutely. I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me. And one more thing, Jen, start with your network. I hope you have some network on LinkedIn already, because even if these are the people from your current job or previous work and so on, you'd be surprised to see that actually your ideal client could be your second connection, for example, and you might be already connected to them through someone who is already in your primary network. So does this make sense, Shelley? Maybe we should explain how LinkedIn works exactly.
It does. And I'm kind of lucky because I spoke to Jen last week. We did a strategy session together. So I know a little bit about her ideal clients. And we talked about how it would be great she's in the diversity and inclusion space, particularly with a focus on helping companies with their sort of communication with the LGBTQ audience, both internal employees and also external audience. And so really, your Jen's ideal clients are going to be PR companies as a starting point. So even if you don't know anyone in PR companies right now, definitely look and see if any of your existing connections are connected to someone in a PR company. And then you can contact them, do the market research approach. If they're not the right person to do the actual survey with you and have the conversation, you can always get them to then put you onto the person who is the right person in the company. And then you can take that approach. And that way, then you get to talk to them about what you do. And Jen, you are phenomenal. So I know as soon as you get to speak to them, they're going to want to hire your services. So definitely go about that route. And I think we also talked anyway about, some ideas. So I actually think you probably know a little bit more about the pain points of your ideal client than you're giving yourself credit for at this moment in time, based on our conversation. But good luck, Jen. Okay, yeah. So we also have a question from Marion. Yeah, so someone was just missed the step that I was saying, market research approach. So all I'm saying with the market research approach is use LinkedIn to find your ideal client. Okay, so use LinkedIn to find your ideal client, then reach out to them, say, hey, I need your help. Would you have 5 or 10 minutes for us to have a quick chat? Because I'd love to get your take on some new services that I'm creating. When they say yes, you schedule a call. You get on the call, you ask them questions so that you can elicit their pain points and their outcomes that they're looking for. And then you'll have an opportunity to talk to them about the offering that you're putting together. And what typically happens out of that is they say, oh my God, that's exactly what we need. So then it can turn into a strategy session and a potential client. And yeah, so hopefully that gives you that process. You can do it with a survey, but I personally find that those calls, you get a little bit more direct interaction, and that's where you get the best opportunities to potentially pick up a client. If you are on a call, especially with the B2B side, it's really important that it's a call rather than you just sending them a survey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Relationship matters.
You can always do this as well. Like, so you can do this on the B2B side. You can say you're doing research rather than market research. It could be like a white paper or case study that you're putting together. So it's like actually something that would be of value to them to take part in, because then they could get the answers to the research, which would contribute something valuable to them. So you can sort of make it more of a like kind of research base rather than a market research base. And that can work really well on the B2B side. So yeah, I like that strategy a lot because people are just so much more open because they're not being sold to. So it's a really great way of building those relationships.
Brilliant.
Yeah, good. Okay. So we've got another question. Marion is asking, my question relates to transition from CX consultant to the voice of the homeowner in my role as CEO of a factoring business. I want to build on my expertise in customer experience at the same time. I really want to educate the community of homeowners and also other factors about how CX works for homeowners. It's a bit like paying taxes. You don't like your factor, but you have to work with them and pay your fees. Okay. How would you recommend I stay true to my passion for excellence, but at the same time I speak up for factors, the regulations around factoring? My clients don't choose us. They are told by their builder who their factor is. I see. Okay, hence I struggle to define my ideal clients in this environment. So what I would say to you is if they're told by their builder who their factor is, you need to connect with the builders, right? They're the referral source. If they are choosing, I don't know much about factoring business. That I did a search, Marianne, before when you posted the question. I did a little search to find out a bit more about what it is. We do have a lot of tax consultants as clients, but factoring is kind of a new area for me. But my sense is if the factor is set by a builder, then it seems logical to me that you need to connect with builders in order to then be the person that is recommended by them or is set. Or if it's not the builder that sets it, if the builder is then told by someone else, you need to be connecting with whoever decides who the factor is. Does that make sense, Sonia? What do you think?
It does. It's a little bit more complex case, I would say, but I wanted to actually focus on this sentence that Marianne mentioned, like, how would you recommend I stay true to my passion for excellence, but at the same time speak up for factors, regulations around factoring and so on. Marianne, my recommendation to you is actually, if this is your passion, if the passion is to actually strive for excellence and help your clients grow and excel, sometimes you need to do stuff that are a little bit out of your comfort zone. And even if like speaking for factors and regulations and so on is not your first choice, like you should see it more as the big picture kind of thing. Like, okay, for me to get there and help my client to excel in what they do, to, I need to master this part of it. So it's part of the whole process. Don't look at it as entirely separate thing that you should do. What do you think, Shelley?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really important you picked up on that as well. And of course, you know, I'm always coming at this about how do you get more clients. So my angle is always that, and Sonia is picking up more on kind of what you want to focus in on. I think the sweet spot between the two is, Marion, when you start doing content marketing, you can educate your audience about what they need to know when it comes to factoring, regulations. So what I mean in that scenario is, if the homeowners are the end users, it seems, but the homeowners probably that's probably not the problem that they think that they have. So the factoring piece may not be what they feel is the pain point for them. What we need to know is understand what the pain point is for them. The fact that the factor is set for them, they don't get a choice around that. That might be a pain point. But if it's set for them, then you can't just sell directly to them. You've got to go to whoever the person is that is determining who they use, basically. But what you can do is get known as the industry leader and the industry expert in this area, and do that through your content. And that will then hopefully also lead you to be the chosen company more frequently, whatever the process is behind that. I don't know what the process is behind that. But Marion, what I would say is, I think obviously we need a little bit more information to understand your area to be able to help you with this. But what we're raising for you are some questions to answer, which is, firstly, who sets, who decides for the builder, or is it the builder that decides on who the factor is that the home user has to use, or the homeowner has to use? Who decides that? Once you know that answer to that question, that's going to really help you. The second piece is, what are the pain points of the homeowner, but also the builder, and anyone that decides on who the factor is for the builder? Okay, so like the decision maker, like what are the pain points of all of those different people in the process? And in order to be focused on excellence, it's about really helping the people that are in that chain. It's helping all of them. And what do they need to know? What do they need to be educated on? That's where you're sharing this knowledge and being the industry leader. What do they need to be educated on so that they can get the best outcome? So if you answer those questions, even though we don't know the answers to them, if you answer those questions, you'll be able to, include excellence in the way your business operates and become the industry leader as well. So that's what I would suggest. What do you think, Sonia? Complicated one, that one.
Complicated one, but really important questions. I hope Marion wrote them down, because she needs to do a little bit of thinking related to that. But of course, we are here. If you have questions, just ping us in the group. Happy to see your answers. Happy to help you further. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we're an hour and a half in as well. So if we need to pop that across to Marion, we can. Just let her know our feedback is about just shy of an hour and a half in. Great. Okay. So we've had a few questions just from people on the call as we've been going through all the questions that were on the Ask Me Anything post. So just for anyone listening, I realized I didn't explain this, but we post a post at 3:00 every day, Monday to Friday, where we will say, please ask the questions on there, or comment with the question that you would like us to answer on the live Q&A. So the questions that I've been answering whilst we've been on this call are from the questions asked from the Ask Me Anything post. So that's, if you're wondering where the questions had come from, that's where they were coming from. So if you want to get your questions answered on the live calls, then comment onto that post that goes out at 3:00 each day. I am going to take some of the questions from people that are here as well, because there's some quick questions that I think would be useful so that you understand what we're talking about. Zina is asking, how can you just confirm what B2B is and B2C is? So yeah. I'll let Sonia take this one.
Thank you. So B2B is business to business, which means that when you sell as a business to other companies, it's called B2B, and B2C is business to consumer, which means that you sell to individuals, right? The same as the examples that Shelley explained at the beginning. If you sell to the executive himself or herself, that can be called B2C. But if you go and approach the company and you want to be part of some corporate programs and so on, that's more of B2B. I hope that makes sense.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, perfect. Great. So Maria is saying, I have a LinkedIn account, but don't know how to navigate it. Is there a tutorial available? So if you're just sort of starting out on LinkedIn, you're going to be getting help with how to navigate LinkedIn during the next 5 days of the challenge. So each of our live videos will show you exactly what you need to start navigating LinkedIn. In addition to that, there are some guides in the guide section. There's some videos in there that walk you through different elements of how to use LinkedIn. So there are some how-to guides, how-to videos. What I would say to you right now is probably just go into LinkedIn, have a little look around. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about your LinkedIn profile headline, and there are some video tutorials on using LinkedIn, setting up your LinkedIn profile that are in the guide section in the Facebook group. So you can always check those out. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, we'll be looking at the LinkedIn outreach process and how to connect with your ideal clients. So we're going to show you, or you'll see in the video, each step. So I wouldn't worry too much immediately is what I'm trying to say. Just check in on the daily task videos each day. You'll be getting each step and you'll learn how to use LinkedIn at the same time when you just check in on those videos. Perfect. Maria's perfect. That's great, Maria. Fantastic. Glad that was helpful. So Louise is saying, I'm a financial planner, so I'm in a space where I feel like a predator on LinkedIn because of the nature of my work. I work specifically with minority markets with a need and capacity, B2C. I also work with organizations on employee and executive benefit plans. How do I separate myself on LinkedIn and not be that nuisance Connor spoke of? Well, I think first of all, the fact I wouldn't try and change your perception of yourself as being a predator on LinkedIn, because financial planning is massively important. And most of us don't learn how to do financial planning in school. We don't learn about building wealth in school or protecting our income or anything like that. We don't learn about those things in school. So most of us have to learn and understand those things as adults. You're also saying you specifically work with minority markets, and historically in different countries, different minorities have been at a disadvantage when it comes to being able to build wealth for different reasons. So I think what you're doing is a real service. And that's the first thing I want to say. And I really want you to embrace what you're doing as a service, especially the fact that you've clearly got a lot of passion about wanting to help people, having chosen a niche of working with minorities. So, I would say that's really important. And so you're not going to be a nuisance to your audience because you're solving a problem that they have that they don't know how to solve themselves. So when you reach out to them, it's just about how you word it so that you can really let your passion come across and you can help them to understand, that you have, that if they're struggling with X, Y, and Z, that you can help. Okay, so just shift your mindset around that is what I would say. I think that's really key. What do you think, Sonia?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is like the main thing where Louisa should start from. It's in fact shifting her mindset and realizing that financial planning is super important area. I mean, I'm sure that probably you and me need financial planning, right, Shelley?
Absolutely.
Everyone who wants to plan for their retirement and for this important life decisions overall. They need financial planning. So definitely I would focus on thought leadership. I would focus on making you the expert on LinkedIn, like posting on all these topics that people are interested in learning more about, getting more education and so on. And you will see how people will come like actively towards you, because they would know that you can help them with what they need. So yeah, these are some of the things that we show also in the next days, right, Shelley, about content and how to present yourself as thought leader. So I'm sure there will be some interesting learnings.
Yeah. And I would say that, I have a financial advisor, and it's been so important for me working with him. It's been really, really key. I mean, it's helped no end, because I came out of getting divorced after 17 years and gave away half my equity, or more than half it ended up being at the end during the divorce process. So I came out into quite a difficult financial situation, having also supported my ex-husband for 17 years as well through 2 master's degrees. So I know what it's like when you have to restart again and build your wealth again. And my financial advisor, I connected with him after the divorce, and he's been absolutely key in helping me. So really want to encourage you. It's massively important. I didn't really know much about financial planning or anything when I got divorced. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have ended up giving away half my equity if I had. But, these things happen. It prompted me to start learning that experience. So I just want to say to you, look, I wish I'd learned sooner. I wish I'd had that information sooner, and probably would have made a lot better decisions. But at least I got it when I did. So see it that way. You're providing a service. And this is, the timing could be absolutely perfect for the people that you connect with. Because there never is a bad time to start financially planning for your whatever situation you're trying to plan for, whether it's retirement or whether it's actually just to start the process of putting into a pension, or to start building wealth, or whatever element it is that you're working on. So yeah, brilliant. Amazing. Okay, perfect. So great questions here. Let's just see. Nina is saying, really struggling with a strategy to condense down the pain points. Okay. So I don't think you need to condense them down at this point, Nina. What I would say is just list all the pain points you have. That's what we're looking for at today's daily task. What we'll be doing tomorrow is helping you to focus it down into your headline. So I would say, don't worry about it for today. Tomorrow's daily task is going to help you. Sonal is saying, how does the algorithm of LinkedIn work in comparison to Facebook? That's a big question. Sonia, did you want to try and tackle that one?
It's a big one. Probably you can also help me a bit with Facebook, because both you and me are actually focusing a lot on LinkedIn, but of course I am doing some work on Facebook as well. So obviously LinkedIn, in my experience, is still the best choice for you to get organic reach, to get engagements, to present yourself as thought leader, as someone who is really an influencer in the space. By influencer, I don't mean it like in a bad way kind of thing. I mean it as someone who is really experienced in the space and can help your clients. That thing number one. The second thing that it's super, super valuable for LinkedIn is building these connections and building this network, because the way LinkedIn works is as concentric circles, right, Shelley? So basically, the more people you connect with, your network gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So, for example, if I'm connected to Shelley and Shelley is connected to you, then I can see you as her second connection, which means that I can connect to you now. Then I can see your connections, I can connect to them, and so on. So in one, you can see that your connections are massively growing and your network is growing and growing more. And the third thing is about the direct messages. I would say that LinkedIn is probably the best place for you to reach out to people, offer your help, offer your support, because they're really open to listen. I mean, if you have the right approach and the right messaging, this is the platform that I would recommend. Maybe Shelley, you can say the comparison with Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, I would say one of the key things in terms of deciding between LinkedIn and Facebook is that Facebook is a much broader audience. They're much more diverse in terms of, you know, who you get on Facebook, even though there's a lot of crossover now between LinkedIn's audience and Facebook's audience. When you're targeting through Facebook, you find that typically you bring through quite a broad audience. There's obviously a lot of people on Facebook who are there socially, and a lot of people that understandably are on Facebook looking for free stuff. And, you know, and as everyone knows here, I do a lot on Facebook, right? I'm aware of this very broad audience, but that's right for me because I'm trying to reach a very broad audience. And that's part of my passion as well, to help as many people as possible. Whereas with LinkedIn, what's really beneficial and why I recommend business owners use LinkedIn to grow their business is because you can really target in on those premium clients, the people who can really afford your services, and you can more quickly and easily start generating connections with them than you can on Facebook, and generating connections that can potentially lead to a strategy session and then to a client. Okay, obviously going for B2B is obvious through LinkedIn. We don't need to say that much about that because, you know, businesses are on LinkedIn, whereas they're not necessarily as present on Facebook. But B2C is still a fantastic platform for you because those individual professionals who are more premium clients who have the money to afford your services, they're all there on LinkedIn, and it's very easy to get that one-on-one connection happening with them in a way that is sometimes more difficult to actually attract them through Facebook. So that's kind of giving you a bit of a feel for the difference between the two. But I would say you get so much more organic reach on LinkedIn than you do on Facebook. And as you know, I run ads on Facebook because the organic reach is just not there when it comes to the content on Facebook, whereas it is there on LinkedIn. So you might as well take advantage of being able to get known as an expert in your field and generate those inbound leads for free. Okay, so yeah, that would be what I would suggest there. So, okay, I'm quite conscious of time. We do have a second live happening in an hour and a quarter's time at 9 o'clock UK time. So I think we might actually stop there for now and just suggest to you guys, come back at 9 o'clock, come back for the second live with Shelley, and I'm going to be answering loads more questions. You're going to get to hear from another guest of mine, and this time the person is also B2C as well, so they target individual professionals. So it'll be another opportunity for you to hear about how to grow your business using LinkedIn, and we'll answer loads more questions as well that you have. If for any reason you're not able to make it back for the next live with Shelley, I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning, bright and early, for tomorrow's daily task, where, as Sonia said, we're focusing on your LinkedIn profile and creating your headline. But also, if you haven't done today's daily task, go and do it now. There's plenty of time. My team's around. We're going to give you feedback. So yeah, go right to it now so that you can move through getting clear on your ideal clients. And we will see you. Well, I'll see you on the next live with Shelley at 9 o'clock in an hour and a quarter's time. Awesome. Any final words from you, Sonia?
Well, I think you said it all. Thank you, everyone, for this amazing session. See you all tomorrow. Come with a lot of enthusiasm and passion because we have work to do. So we'll be starting your LinkedIn profiles.
Yes. And for anyone that doesn't feel that, if you haven't had your question answered, I will be answering it on the next live at 9 o'clock. So come back if you can. If not, you can always listen to the replays. We will be sending replays out just after both, the last live is complete. So you can always check onto the replay. Okay, so Heidi, if you can just make a note of who that is, and we'll make sure we answer their question, that would be great. All right, fantastic. Well, hopefully see you back here in an hour and 10 minutes. Okay, or I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now, everyone.
Thank you.